So in the earlier chapter, we talked about building event to event and how successful lines, they do that. They get in the ticket selling business. So what I want to do in this lesson is I want to talk about how you get the most out of events in general, whether they're opportunity meeting events or whether they're training events or major events, your company convention, all of them. They all have a role in building the business, and I want you to get the most traction out of them as possible. So we're going to go through some of the things that make that happen. One little qualifier, I'm going to say it again, the question is going to come up against online versus offline. I still believe there's always a place for live events, so for that reason, that's why we're talking about it. Here's the I don't know, what do we call it? The guiding principle over that rests over all the events we do. And it's a cliche. We've been using it for decades in the business, but it's a cliche for a reason. And here's what it is. Sometimes you need the meeting, and sometimes the meeting needs you. And that's why you always attend every meeting. If there's a meeting in your town, you should be at that meeting. So you don't say, well, I don't have any prospects to bring this week, and I've seen that presentation 27 times, so I don't need to go. No, that logic doesn't work, because if you didn't need to go, you would have prospects there, and then you'd need to go, wouldn't you? So if you say, well, I don't really have anyone, no, then something's wrong. You need the meeting. And maybe the meeting needs you this week. Maybe because we got to have enough people in the meeting. We got to have enough people paying the $5, $8, $10, whatever it is to get in the door that covers the cost of the meeting room and the projector and the screen and the coffee or whatever the case. And sometimes you don't have a prospect, but you need to be there to support the meeting so that the meeting is there 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, when you have a couple of killer prospects and you want to bring them to a meeting filled with high energy people who are all supporting that meeting. So if there's a meeting in town, you need to be there. Next order of business, you probably have to train your people how to attend meetings. Now it sounds crazy, but you have to train your people how to dress for meetings. And I'm not going to give you a dress code, because there are organizations that they do business in suit and ties, and there's organizations they do business in polo shirts, and there's organizations they do business in Hawaiian shirts. That's none of my business. You know what is the accepted dress in your company, but you got to train people of that. Because if you are one of those companies that everybody wears polo shirts and chinos, great. But then if you bring in a prospect and he or she's wearing a business suit or a suit and tie or something, they probably feel, wow, I'm really overdressed for this thing. Now they're uncomfortable. So you have to train your people how to attend meetings so they know how to tell their prospects. You have to tell people, don't be eating in meetings, don't be chewing gum in meetings, don't be answering your phone, talking on your phone in meetings, don't have the phone ringing. Great, you're at a meeting, you want to send out a tweet or post to Facebook, hey, Julio Gonzalez is on stage and he is rocking it. Great, beautiful, whatever. But no, this isn't the time to call the babysitter. No, this isn't the time to check your stock quotes. This isn't the time for any of that other stuff. You want to, so you got to teach them how to participate. Okay, they've heard that joke from that presenter 27 times. Well, you know what? You got to laugh at it the 28th time. Because he's not telling the joke for you, he's telling the joke for the guest next to you. So everything you do, like at an opportunity meeting, you're there to experience it for the sake of the prospects. So if they ask for participation, maybe they're doing some dream building, they're asking people, well, you want to participate with that. If there's handouts, you take a handout. Because what people do is, well, I don't take the handout because I'm a distributor. Well, what about if we've got 15 distributors there and only 3 guests, and they notice that only 3 people take the handouts? So now they say, wow, there's like 15 of them, only 3 of us. They get defensive. Now they're crossing their legs, they're crossing their arms, they're locking up their wallet because they think, well, these people are ganging up on me. So you literally have to train people about how to attend meetings. Next thing I would tell you is you got to have some tough love with your people, because they can't help it. It's a default setting. When you say, hey, there's a major event coming up. It's in March. It's our, Go Diamond weekend. It's a 2-day event in Phoenix, and we're all flying in there. And, we're going to have 15 of the top leaders from the company are speaking in the company. And they're going to say, well, wait a minute. A plane ticket to Phoenix, 2 nights in the hotel. The meals, I'm going to have a babysitter. I need to board the dogs. Hey, I joined this business to make money, not to spend money. You got to have some tough love because they don't know what they don't know. And what they don't know is that major events are what get people over the line. Those Go Diamond weekends, the mastermind events, the company conventions, those are the ones that get people over the line. So that's the next thing I want to talk about is this concept of over the line. Because over the line means this: you're in, and you're in to win. You're in to stay. You finally got it. You're no longer trying to do the business. You're doing the business. You no longer think the business is going to work. You know the business is going to work. So once you're over the line, nobody can steal you away. A new company opens up and they're paying another 0.5% on the 27th level of the infinity bonus. You say, great, I wish you good luck, but I'm very happy where I am. If the products are on back order, if there's some negative publicity, if there is some leadership changes at the top or leadership changes in the corporate suite, what doesn't matter. You say, I believe in this company, I believe in these people, I believe in these products, I believe in this business, I believe in this profession. So that happens at major events. And how that happens is you build up enough belief. And that belief is what takes place at the major event. And it comes from the energy, from the proof, meaning the evidence supported there, and the social proof, meaning, wow, there's 15,000 people at this convention. All these people are like-minded people like me, striving for success, who believe in this product line, believe in this company, believe in this leadership team. There's a social proof dynamic there that is extraordinary. And that's what brings people over the line. That's when they're sitting in that audience and in the last row, and they might have struggled to get there. And again, they might have had to have 6 people riding in a car and 6 people sharing a hotel room, and 2 are in the bed, 2 are on the sofa, 1 is in the floor, and 1 is sleeping in the bathtub. And believe me, I have been in those situations. And we go to the supermarket and we bought peanut butter and jelly and bread, and we were making sandwiches in the room because we were just, struggling, starting out in the business. But we knew we had to get to those major events because we knew that they would transform us forever. You don't know that until you experience it. And until you experience it, you need somebody from the sponsorship line who will love you enough to be tough with you and get you there. So you got to really use some tough love for those major events. Now, so we want to get people over the line, right? That happens. The other thing that happens at major events, by the way, so they get over the line, is because even if they're there and they're sleeping in the bathtub and eating the peanut butter and jelly and they're in the very back row closest to the door, at some point, somebody gets on stage and tells their story, and it touches them. And they say, her story is my story. That is, oh my goodness. And she comes from a small town just like me, and she was divorced just like me, and she had a single mother raising kids just like me, and she was struggling with money just like me. And all of a sudden, they realize, and it really did work for someone just like me. So that means it will work for me. So they get over the line. Or they meet someone and they shake their hand and they take their picture and they get to look in their eye. They meet the company president or they meet the top leader, and there is some magic that takes place there. And you can't do that. It doesn't work at the local events. It doesn't work at the opportunity meetings. That only happens at the major events. So I want you to get the most out of them. That means you got to get the most people to them. You got to be tough and really sell why they got to be there. You got to sell the tickets. You got to plan the campaigns, all of the stuff we've talked about before. The other interesting dynamic that takes place is the tipping point that happens. There's a tipping point with major events when you get 100 distributorships there. at least 100 distributorships. So husband and wife, remember, they might be one distributorship. When you can get 100 distributorships there, what will happen is 35, 45, 50 of them are over the line or get over the line at that event. 20, 25 more get closer to over the line. 25 more, they're still looking at it. They're not, they hope, they don't have belief yet. They're not over the line yet. But if you get at least 100 people at the major distributorships, rather, you create a tipping point. So even if you stop working the next day, you quit, you sold the business, that organization would continue to grow. And we could come back 5 years later and it would still be growing because there would be enough people who are over the line that it would propagate continued duplication and continued growth. So one of the things I want you to focus on if you're new in the business or you're intermediate level and you've got 3 people coming to a major event or you're up to 22 distributorships at a major event, I want you to work, okay, I have 22 distributorships at this event. How many distributorships can I have at the next major event? Can I get to 100? And maybe you can't. Maybe you can only get to 75. I don't know. I don't know where you're at. But let's say it is. You say, okay, great. I can get to 75 distributorships for the next major event. And then there'll be another one 3 months after that or 4 months after that. And that's my goal, that at that one, I will get to the tipping point. I will have at least 100 distributorships at that event. And now I know my business is set and it will continue to grow regardless of what happens. The other thing that the events, you want to look at how you schedule them. You really want to have a mix of inspiration and skill set training. And where I see problems is some organizations do one or the other. Is they're really excited motivational events and everybody is just fired up. But they really don't know, well, how do I talk to people? What do I say when I'm following up with a prospect? How do I get people to attend my events? And, obviously that's why I created this learning platform, so you can always bring your people here. But it helps if you're also doing this stuff at your events, having a mix of the two. So have the inspiration stuff, but also have some tangible skill set training stuff at those events, because that really does make a difference. The other thing that'll happen with that, and this is an interesting question that, a topic rather that I told you I talked to so many leaders in the profession, and they were, helping me with the outline and planning the course content. And one of those people was Sarah Robbins. And Sarah said, be sure and talk about plateaus and what happens when you hit a plateau. And that's where I think you can really utilize meetings effectively, because when you start and you're new and it's legacy positions and, get in on the ground floor, you have all this excitement and energy and it's really easy to get a lot of people in. And then you reach some level of maturity and then you're not selling that we're the newest kid on the block anymore. And the opportunity is just as good, but the surface, mind viruses of get in on the ground floor just aren't there anymore. And so you may reach plateaus. And so here's what I would suggest when you reach a plateau. During growth, that's when you do the really fun, inspiring stuff and you go crazy at the meetings. Give you an idea. I mean, like usually I like to do something with my top leaders, diamond directors. Once a year we go to Fiji or Tahiti or to Hawaii or someplace like that, where it's really tropical and gorgeous in the wintertime, where other people are in other areas where it's really cold and snowy and sleety and rainy and frozen. And we mail them a coconut from Hawaii. We're taking pictures of people drinking out of coconuts and drinking out of pineapples. I'll put some sand from the beach and put it in a box and ship it back to them. And here, barefoot on the beach, thinking of you. You gotta be with us next year. Those are the kind of fun things you're doing when they're home, scraping the ice off their windshield in January in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, when it's 60 below zero wind chill factor, right? And then you're going to get to plateau times where, okay, now we're at a level of maturity, and now when you're at the level of plateaus, I want you to change the focus of the meeting some, and I want you to concentrate on product focus, product knowledge, product passion, so that this excitement about the products is what anchors people to it. And then the other stuff will come naturally. I want you to build on company belief, the character of the people in the company, the support structure of the company, the things the company is doing to support the field, the investments that they're making. And then the leadership character, same thing. You want to be edifying the team leadership and their commitment to the team and what they will do to support the team, and train on the fundamentals. And that's what when you're at the plateau, then you go back and look at your curriculum at these events and saying, are we doing the basics enough? Do we have lessons at every major event? Do we have a lesson on how to meet people? Do we have a lesson on working the candidate list? Do we have lessons on, sessions on inviting? Do we have the follow-up spelled out? Because what you're going to see is you're tired of all those presentations on how to meet people because you've seen 17 of them. But you know what? The person who just joined 3 weeks ago, they haven't seen any of them. So we don't build the curriculum for the people who've been in for 3 years. We build the curriculum for the people who just joined. And we want to present it in a fresh way. So even if it's the 18th presentation you've seen on how to meet people, there's something new in there, and it's presented in a different way by a different person with different stories or different jokes, so it keeps your attention, and it lets you polish up on what you need to, but it's really designed for that brand new person. So when you plateau, that'd be the first thing to explore is, okay, do we have those basic foundational skill set stuff? Are we doing enough of that training so people can get out of the gate? Two other things that I think are important to talk about to get the most out of meetings. And the first of those is, we touched on it earlier, have campaigns for those major events. And again, figure out, is this an event people drive to, they fly to? Is this an overnight one, or it's a local one? Is it, is most people they could drive there and then go home that night? Or is it a hotel thing? Do we rent buses? Are we going to try and get a group rate with Southwest Airlines? Are we going to try and charter a plane? What's the campaign? What's the theme of the campaign? How much are tickets? Who's involved? What are we doing when people sell so many tickets? Do they get a ribbon on their name badge? Do we put them up on the website? Do we bring them up on stage? How do we reward the behavior that's doing the outcome we want to create the result of, hey, tons of people at the event? And the other thing I would tell you this is just something for the training meetings, really important. Every time you do a training event, I want you to give assignments at the end of it. Give people some specific action steps to take. So that might be, if you're you might be a weight loss company, and you say, okay, we want you to set a fitness goal. Maybe you're an essential oils company and you said, okay, here's your assignment. Everybody's going to get 5 new customers this week. Here's your assignment. Everybody's going to commit to break their next rank by the next major event. They will advance at least 1 rank advancement. Everybody will agree to go back and redo their candidate list and start fresh and go back and revisit it. Or everybody is making a commitment. We've got a new DVD presentation DVD. Everybody's making a commitment to buy 50 of them, and they're going to put them in the hands of 50 people that they know in the next 30 days. Some kind of assignments, specific action steps. And that really, do all of these things, and you're going to get some really great traction and results from your events. And remember, events drive the business.